Hello guys, welcome to the channel. Bob here, and we're back with Everquest. This is part 2 of my sort of little monthly project, and things going okay. Yeah, can't complain at all. I'm only level 9. I've been absolutely hammering the tooth quest, the Null Fang quest, I should say. Yeah, and that's been brilliant. Yeah, it's great sort of starting in Qeynos, I think. I'm not sure if Necromancers and Shadow Knights can do it. I think it might affect your faction with your guild. Yeah, but certainly any other, maybe the Rogue as well. But any other sort of classes, essentially, yeah, it's great. It really does sort of give you a leg up. Much appreciated because leveling in Everquest can seem quite slow, particularly for some reason. Sort of, you get to level 4 or 5, and you really kind of notice a difference in the speed. So yeah, it's pretty good. And I'm still killing gnolls, as you can see. Absolutely no reason to stop doing that at the moment. The Null Fang quest is still giving me reasonable experience. I think maybe when I get to level 10, maybe things will start to look a bit not quite as good, maybe, because it started to slow down. It's still, I mean, it's still sort of worth doing, but soon I'll get to a point where sort of the gnolls sort of turn green, and you start to wonder to yourself, well, oh, he's got a worn great staff. Weight 10. No way. I haven't been worried about my weight too much at these levels. I haven't had too many problems. There's no sort of real reason to, but yeah, an extra 10. I'm not not happy about that. Anyway, so the monk, how are we doing? Yeah, fine. No, I've had no temptation at all. No one's offered me a fungi tunic or anything like that. No one's sort of pouring plat over my head, so that's all pretty good. I've had a few buffs and stuff, and that's kind of the thing that helps the most, I think, really. It just means you can sort of stay out there longer, as it were, before you have to go in. There's a zombie over there. What is that? It's Guard Miles. Varsoon the Undying looks my way apprehensively. Who the hell is he? Oh, I thought he was going to cast a spell at me then, that bloke. Yeah, I've got no idea who this guy is. He's red to me, that's all that matters. Must be part of some quest or something. It's quite interesting, this little spot here, because you do get a few, what is a null? You do get a few sort of, named NPCs. Interesting stuff. Anyway, yeah, monks, it's all going okay. It's weird, actually, because I've kind of, with the monk, I've been forced into using certain skills that I've never used before. Like Bind Wound, for example. It's really bizarre, but I've never used Bind Wound. Now I'm using it, you kind of see, oh, there's a little tooth, cool. You kind of see that actually it's quite a useful skill to have no matter what class you're playing. But yeah, I never used it before. And it's a strange one because I'm not sure if that's how it is with melee classes, but I find myself quite often at 50% life. That's it. It's because Bind Wound only takes you up to 50. Quite often you're kind of operating with 50% life all the time. It's almost like the other 50% doesn't exist to a certain extent. I'm assuming when Mend becomes more reliable, things will sort of improve a bit. But yeah, it's weird. I very often find myself fighting at sort of 50%. Which is fine at the moment. I'm having no trouble doing that. Yeah, but Bind Wound's a strange one. Never used it before, but certainly it's you can see how it would be useful for any class, but melee classes particularly. Mend, I'm not sure about yet. I'm not sure if I should probably use it now, shouldn't I? Yeah, I didn't take any damage. I didn't get a point, so that's fine. I'm not sure with Mend if I should just keep using it whenever it's up. Obviously, depending on how much life I've got, I'm not sure if that's the way that people do it. I'm putting all of my points into it essentially to get it up as quickly as possible. But yeah, I'm just wondering if people actually use it just whenever it's available. Just in case you get a little skill point increase, or whether I should just leave it until it's more reliable. Yeah, sort of any advice on that? Let me know. What I tend to do as well is bind 50% and then use Mend if it's available. Sorry if I keep cutting off. I've got a bit of a cough and a cold again at the moment, and yeah, I keep cutting the mic so I'm not coughing in your ear. Equipment-wise, everything's pretty much the same. I haven't got anything new apart from a white headband. I did the quest for that, and I'm just trying to get putrid rib bones for the next one. Is that right? I need to just check up the quest, research that a bit, but I think it's putrid rib bones anyway for the second headband. Yeah. But everything else is pretty much the same. And I've got some concerns about equipment, not big concerns, but the two main ones first that I'm sort of causing me the sort of the most headaches, as it were. Not right now exactly, but in a few levels time. One of them is weight reduction. Obviously, what I need to do is research some sort of weight reduction bags. How easy will it be for me to make them myself with equipment and whatever that I've got available, or are there any fairly low level ones that I can go and sort of camp myself? Essentially, that's kind of one of the things I need to do, because I feel that weight reduction is going to be important, particularly for your bandages and and sort of range weapons. I guess I don't know if you get shurikens or something, probably, but yeah, I imagine that's probably going to be pretty important, and I need to check that out. The other thing is weapons, of course. I think probably the two main, certainly for me anyway, I think at the moment the main equipment, the most important bits of equipment are the weapons. To make sure that I'm doing as much damage as I can be, and also I guess the magical as well. I don't have any magical weapons, so I need to research that as well to see what can be had. I'm not buying anything, as you know, so I need to sort of be able to go and camp something. A couple of kind of one-handed blunt weapons, maybe. Yeah, so that's going to be the that's kind of the most important thing, I think, over the next, I don't know, 10 levels or so, 5-10 levels. That a couple of reasonable weapons, and maybe some weight reduction bags. And it's interesting doing this topic, because it's made me sort of think about a couple of things. First of all, it's quite nice playing a character who's not really worried about anything, any worldly goods. I kind of think to myself, I think everyone sort of at some point, I think men do anyway, probably, it crosses their mind that maybe it would be quite nice to sort of live in a some sort of monastery, where you've got no sort of worries, no concerns, no responsibilities. And it's quite nice. It's quite nice doing it in game, and then it sort of makes you think about it in real life. And yeah, I couldn't sort of obviously be without family and stuff that I've got, but yeah, certainly as an experiment, again, it might be quite interesting. And I'm sure it must feel quite nice to maybe not as fulfilling. You haven't got the responsibility and and pressures of sort of the general pressures that other people have, job, family, debts, those kind of things. But at the same time, you're missing out as well, I think, aren't you? I think that you're probably I don't think I feel as fulfilled overall. Maybe I'm not sure, but it's quite an interesting experiment, this, because it sort of gets you thinking about those kind of things in real life. And the other thing that I'm thinking about, that I'm wondering if it's going to be an issue, is I was thinking about the equipment thing and twinking. And on this server, it appears to be that the majority of low-level players that you see are twinked. They're essentially higher level players, players with higher level characters, and they're twinking out their low level ones, which I don't have a problem with to a certain extent. I think if you abuse it and you give yourself a fungi at level 1, that's just ridiculous, and you deserve a slap, to be quite frank. But it's in what I'm trying to do, it's going to be quite interesting, because what I'm wondering is if the twinking thing is to a point where it's so expected. Everyone expects sort of low-level characters to be twinked to a certain extent, that if they group with someone who's not, what's the reaction going to be? What's their attitude going to be? Will I find myself, sort of in a situation where the group doesn't want me? They don't feel that I'm sort of offering enough to the group because my equipment is not particularly good. Yeah, it'd be an interesting interesting study into people's psychology. If a polygon makes a massive difference to whether they will sort of have you in your group or not, or, you know, or sort of even talk to you. I'm not talking this riffraff. So yeah, so that's going to be an interesting thing to see as well. I mean, you know what I'm like with grouping, and I don't group a lot, but I do want to group more, you know, and I'm hoping maybe with this character that I can do that. But it'd be interesting to see, you know, sort of how people react to someone who doesn't really have any equipment, or certainly not much equipment anyway. I'm not saying that the server is full of people like that. I'm sure the majority of people are very, very nice, and it's not something that sort of crosses their mind. But I would imagine that there probably are a few, and it'll be interesting to see if I bump into that few, because I do think it is unusual. You know, you very rarely see, certainly you very rarely see a melee class who hasn't been twinked in some way. You know, it's even if it's not sort of super duper stuff, that some twinking has sort of gone on, you know, to make life easier, which again is fine. I mean, I don't mind twinking to make life easier. It's when you get the silly stuff going on that I think is a bit of an issue. Yeah, but I'm wondering about that, and it'll be interesting to see what how it works. Stupid bloody Noel, look, he's on the zone line, so God. Yeah, if I go too far forward, I'll just zone. Not that it's much of a problem. Oh, there we go. Can I loot him? Oh, yeah, it's worth it. He's got a tooth. There we go. The corrupt guard I've got to watch out for in North Qeynos is apprehensive to me at the moment. So I think one last couple of stacks of turning in fangs, and that might be the end of it. You know, he might go aggressive on me. Whoa, bloody hell! He was aggressive. Holy smoke! Come straight for me there. Where was I? Yeah, so we was talking about the whole grouping, twinking thing, and if it's expected, and if you're not, you know, do you become an outcast? I'll have to see about that. Anyway, yeah, so I'm going to continue my game of Whack-A-Null. Just sort of just get up to as high level as I can with the teeth. But also it's worth pointing out that I am mucking about with an Ixar monk at the same time, who's also level 9 at the moment. And I think probably for the next video, for episode 3, you know, we'll make the decision by then as to what monk we're going to play. I think probably the Ixar's quite attractive. There's quite a bit that's attractive about it. I do prefer the look of the human, and I think probably from an RP perspective, the sort of thing I'm trying to do, the human probably suits that more. But you know, the Ixar does have some, as I said, some rather attractive, just little things that, you know, that might make the whole thing a bit more bearable. You know, the whole project a bit more practical. Things like the regeneration bonus essentially is one of the big ones. But also another big one for me is the fact that I've never really played through Qeynos before. You know, I've hardly leveled in any of the zones apart from the newbie ones. You know, so for me it'll all be quite new and fresh, and that's a big advantage as well. I've been a bit worried about the faction thing. I mean, I know you can work on faction if you're willing to put in you know, a phenomenal amount of time. And I'm not sure if I've got the time to put in there, but apparently people say that you can bank, you know, from use of sort of sneak and feign death. So we'll have to see how that goes. Yeah, but certainly the monk, the Ixar is an option. I just need to sort of decide which way to go. At the moment, the regeneration thing is kind of swinging it. It does sound pretty awesome, and particularly if I'm not going to be twinked. You know, I'm going to need all the help I can get, really. But yeah, we'll see how that goes, and hopefully, sort of by episode 3, we've made that decision, and you'll see the monk that I'm going to be sort of taking ahead. Anyway, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. I'm going to carry on beating up Knowles, and I'll speak to you again soon.